In 1929, a mysterious map was discovered in the dusty halls of Istanbul's Topkapi Palace. Drawn on gazelle skin, aged and worn, it looked ordinary until scholars took a closer look. It showed the western coast of Africa, the eastern coast of South America, even a jagged, icy outline of what looked eerily like Antarctica. But here's the twist: this map was made in 1513, centuries before Antarctica was officially discovered. It was the work of an Ottoman admiral named Piri Reis, a man who charted the unknown with a confidence that still puzzles historians. How could he have mapped lands no European had supposedly seen? The map has since become a historical enigma, a riddle of cartography, time, and possibility. Because it doesn't just show what shouldn't be known, it shows it with uncanny precision. Mountains in the right places, river deltas that match modern satellite images, coastlines drawn in exquisite, curving detail, all without Google Earth. So who was this Piri Reis, and how did he draw the impossible? He was an admiral in the Ottoman Navy, a seasoned sailor, a brilliant mapmaker, and something of a historical collector. His real name was Muhyiddin Piri, but history remembers him by his title, Reis, meaning captain. He compiled his map from a patchwork of sources, including 20 charts and mappamundi, some dating back to ancient Greece. But here's where things get strange. He claimed one of those sources was a map drawn by Christopher Columbus, a map the world has never seen. A map that, if it existed, might explain a few things or deepen the mystery. The annotations on the map are as curious as the images. In elegant Ottoman script, Piri Reis wrote about strange lands and unusual animals. He described dragons, giants, and lands with no night. It's part medieval legend, part explorer's gossip, part something else. The real shock came when scholars analyzed the southernmost part of the map. That jagged coastline looked like Queen Maud Land Antarctica without its ice.
Ow.
But wait, Antarctica wasn't officially discovered until 1820. And its subglacial coast wasn't known until the 1950s. Was Piri Reis hundreds of years ahead of his time? Some say yes. Others scoff and say it's all just coincidence. After all, the drawings are rough, the outline's subjective. But then again, how many coincidences does it take before something stops being one?
They say history repeats itself, but what about the parts we forgot? Welcome to Echoes of History, the channel where we dig up the dusty corners of the past to uncover the weird, the wild, and the wait, what? Stories they didn't teach you in school. Grab your curiosity and maybe a cup of tea, because what you're about to hear might just change how you see the world.
Historians debated whether the map showed the actual shape of Antarctica beneath the ice. And if it did, how on earth would a 16th century sailor know that? Satellite technology didn't exist. Ground-penetrating radar was centuries away. And most maps of the time were, let's just say, creatively interpreted. Theories began to bloom like vines. Some said Reis had access to ancient lost maps. Others believed ancient civilizations had seafaring knowledge that modern history has forgotten. Some whispered of Atlantis, of aliens, of time-traveling scribes with feather quills. But before we go full sci-fi, let's return to the admiral himself. Piri Reis was no magician. He was a meticulous compiler, a man who valued information like gold. He collected scraps from sailors, legends from ports, and notes from explorers. His map wasn't just geography, it was a story told through lines and curves, and it was only a fragment. What we have is just the western third of his world map. The rest was lost to time, more perhaps locked away in some archive. What other secrets might the full version have held? What makes the Piri Reis map so captivating isn't just what it shows, it's what it suggests. That maybe the past was far more connected, complex, and curious than we give it credit for. And isn't that what history is about? Not just facts and figures, but wondering, re-examining what we thought we knew, asking bold questions, and sometimes rewriting the map. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into the claims that the map depicts Antarctica. We'll explore whether these lines are real, geography, or wishful thinking. We'll trace the conspiracy theories that grew like wildfire in the 20th century. From Nazi expeditions to ancient astronauts, get ready. Let's talk about Antarctica, or rather Queen Maud Land, a part of it, because that's where the Piri Reis map gets really weird. Remember, Antarctica wasn't officially discovered until 1820, But Piri's map, made in 1513, seems to show a landmass in that exact spot. Not only that, it shows ice-free coastline, smooth, accurate, and shockingly detailed. This led some researchers to a bold conclusion, that the map must have been based on ancient knowledge from a time when Antarctica was ice-free. But here's the catch: Antarctica hasn't been ice-free for at least 6,000 years, maybe even more. So unless there was a lost civilization doing topography in the Stone Age, something's off. In the 1960s, a professor named Charles Hapgood entered the scene. He had a wild theory that advanced ancient cultures mapped the Earth long ago, and that some of that knowledge survived hidden in fragments like the Piri Reis Map. He called it the theory of Earth crust displacement. Basically, he believed the continents had shifted dramatically, and that old maps showed coastlines before the shift. Hapgood's ideas were bold, controversial, and totally fringe, but he had one famous fan, Albert Einstein. Einstein even wrote a foreword to Hapgood's book that gave the theory a strange kind of credibility. Hapgood said the Piri Reis Map showed Queen Maud Land exactly as it would appear without ice. Modern seismic surveys later found similar coastlines beneath Antarctica's thick glaciers. Coincidence? Or was Piri really working with ancient, long-lost maps? Still, skeptics weren't convinced. Cartographers pointed out flaws, scale errors, inconsistencies with latitude, and they said the map could just be an exaggerated version of South America. After all, early explorers often got things wrong. They squished coastlines, stretched rivers, added dragons and sea monsters. So maybe the southern landmass wasn't Antarctica at all. Maybe it was artistic guesswork, a doodle from a sailor's imagination. But even with those explanations, the precision is still unsettling, because some parts line up too well, like the shape of bays, the proportion of land, the alignment of features. This is where conspiracy theories step in, and oh boy, there are a lot. One theory claims the Knights Templar had ancient maps, and they passed them to secret societies. Who passed them to explorers? Who passed them to Piri Reis? Another theory? That aliens gave humans a crash course in cartography thousands of years ago. Intergalactic GPS, anyone? Then there's the Nazi connection. In the late 1930s, Nazi Germany launched expeditions to Antarctica. They mapped parts of Queen Maud Land and called it Neuschwabenland. Some people claimed the Nazis had found something there. It's an ancient civilization, or secret knowledge, or a hidden base, because of course. And somehow, this all circles back to the Piri Reis Map, because if the map was accurate, maybe the Nazis knew it too, and followed its clues south. We're now deep in conspiracy territory. But even without aliens or Nazis, the mystery lingers, because Piri's notes say something even stranger. He wrote that the coasts were copied from earlier maps, and that those maps had existed since the time of Alexander the Great. That's about 1,800 years before Piri's time, which means he believed the knowledge was already ancient. But where are those original maps now? It's lost to war, burned in libraries, or locked in private collections? We may never know. But the Piri Reis Map endures, parchment puzzle that refuses to be solved. It raises questions modern history still can't answer. Was it genius compilation, or a clue to a forgotten world? Was Piri just lucky or working from something extraordinary? In the next part, we'll look beyond the map, to Piri Reis's life, legacy, and eventual downfall. We'll also explore why he may have been silenced, and how this one map outlived him by centuries. And finally, we'll ask, what if this isn't just about a map? What if it's about how we understand knowledge, memory, and the mysteries of the past? So far, we've talked about the map, but what about the man who made it? Piri Reis wasn't just a cartographer. He was a naval officer, a pirate, an explorer, and ultimately a victim of politics. Born around 1465, Piri grew up sailing with his uncle Kamal Reis. Together, they fought battles across the Mediterranean. And Piri soaked up knowledge wherever he went. He collected charts from sailors, copied maps from Spanish, Portuguese, and Arabic sources, and listened carefully to seafarers' tales. He wasn't trying to make history, he was just trying to make better maps. Sometimes, obsession turns into legacy. In 1513, Piri created his famous world map. It only survives in part a third of the original. But what remains is remarkable. It shows the western coast of Africa, the eastern coast of South America, parts of Europe, and then that mysterious southern continent. Decades later, in 1528, Piri made another map. This one showed parts of North America, Greenland, Newfoundland, and the Gulf of Mexico, again with strange accuracy. Piri eventually compiled all his knowledge into a massive book, the Kitab Bori, Book of the Sea, a sailor's guide to the known world, full of maps, observations, and travel wisdom. It was like a 16th century Lonely Planet crossed with Google Earth, and it cemented Piri's status as one of the great minds of the Ottoman Empire. But success, as always, comes with a price. Piri was promoted to admiral of the fleet. He commanded ships, mapped coastlines, and served the empire. But in 1552, his luck ran out. During a naval campaign in the Persian Gulf, Piri refused to attack a Portuguese fortress. He claimed he lacked supplies and reinforcements, but his decision angered the Sultan. Piri was recalled to Cairo, stripped of his title, and executed beheaded at the age of 84. Just like that, the man who drew one of the most mysterious maps in history was gone. For centuries, his work was forgotten. Buried in Ottoman archives, gathering dust on library shelves, until 1929, when a German theologian named Gustav Deissmann was digging through Topkapi Palace in Istanbul, stumbled on a strange piece of gazelle skin parchment. It's covered in colorful drawings, sea creatures, ships, coastlines, notes scribbled in Ottoman Turkish. It was the rediscovery of the Piri Reis Map, and the beginning of a mystery that still captivates us today. What makes it so powerful is the combination of things we know and the things we can't know. Did Piri have access to lost ancient knowledge? Were his sources more advanced than we give credit for? Or are we just reading too much into a lucky guess? Maybe it's a Rorschach test, a mirror we hold up to our curiosity. Some see aliens. Some see Atlanteans. Some see a brilliant Ottoman admiral doing his best with what he had. But that's the magic of maps. They don't just show places, they show imagination. Every coastline is a story. Every strange detail is a spark, a line that dares us to follow. Today, the Piri Reis Map is kept in Istanbul's Topkapi Palace. It's rarely displayed to the public, and only a few scholars get to study it up close. But in the age of the internet, its legend has exploded. YouTube videos, Reddit threads, late-night documentaries with ominous music. People can't stop wondering, how did this map get made? Why does it still whisper to us across the centuries? Maybe we're just drawn to mysteries. Maybe we crave the idea that not everything has been explained. That history still holds secrets, and sometimes those secrets are drawn in ink, on gazelle's skin, by an admiral who refused to follow orders, but followed the stars. In the end, the Piri Reis Map is more than just a document. It's a symbol of lost knowledge, of human curiosity, of how even a forgotten admiral can outlive empires. It challenges us to ask better questions, to look closer, to remember that the past isn't a straight line, it's a spiral. And sometimes, on the edge of a parchment, you'll find a line that doesn't belong, a coast that shouldn't be there, a riddle left unsolved. Not everything in history makes sense, but that's what makes it fun. See you on the next mystery.
That's it for today's Forgotten Tale. If this story made you raise an eyebrow, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that dusty little bell so you never miss another echo from the past. Drop it in the comments. We're always listening for new echoes. Got a weird bit of history you think we should cover? Until next time, keep your curiosity loud and your history weird. That's it for today's Forgotten Tale. If this story made you